Would you like to be able to build rapport with others right away? If so, then you need to learn how to improve your charisma. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I'm about to share with you the exact same process that I've used to become socially magnetic very quickly. Tip number 1 is to develop a sense of humor. The truth is, you'll discourage a lot of people from wanting to hang out with you if you're not fun to be with. It's difficult to be around someone who's so serious all the time. It's just too intense and can feel emotionally heavy. How do I know this? Because this was something that I used to struggle with. As someone who's naturally very task-oriented, being creative doesn't come naturally to me. As a result, I was always so serious and logical, which doesn't really make for an interesting interaction. If this sounds like you probably have a hard time loosening up because you're always in your head. But if you want people to like you, you have to become more playful. Keep in mind that learning how to be funny is a skill that can be developed. When you know how to make people laugh, you become a source of positive emotions. You'll be able to lighten up the mood in any situation. As a result, whoever you're with will feel good when they're around you. To help you get started, you need to think outside of the box. Typically, when you find something funny, it's because it was something that's unexpected, right? That's why the element of surprise is a key component to improving your sense of humor. An easy way to implement this during your interactions is to do the opposite of what people are expecting. For example, the next time you tell a story, lead it up one way as you're building it up, and then flip the ending to be something completely different. The further the conclusion is from what people expect, the funnier it becomes. If you're not used to doing this, you'll definitely want to prepare ahead of time. What you'll want to do is to write out your jokes in advance, and then try telling them in easier and more low-risk settings. That way, you'll be able to see what gets a good reaction. If it flops or if you mess something up, then you won't feel as embarrassed. If you do this over time, you'll have a collection of stories that people enjoy. You'll be able to make anyone laugh more consistently, and you'll become the star of your next interaction. Tip number 2 is to manage your emotions. Keep in mind that your thoughts determine how you feel. From what I've noticed, those who struggle socially just can't control the way they think. They have a bad habit of focusing on the worst case scenario very quickly. They'll blow things out of proportion in their head so much that it gives them crippling anxiety. As a former shy guy, I know this to be true. In fact, I used to eat my lunch in a bathroom stall back in high school because I was terrified of interacting with people. I was so concerned about what they thought of me, that's why I just kept things to myself. If this sounds like you and you want to have a more attractive personality, you have to be able to think more objectively. From my experience, one of the best ways to do this is to adopt a mindfulness practice. If you're not doing it already, I highly encourage you to start meditating and journaling regularly. All you have to do is to pick a quiet spot at your place. Sit in a comfortable position and focus on your breathing for a few minutes. And then get some writing material and jot down whatever you're thinking about on paper. By doing these things, you'll be able to disassociate from your thoughts instead of getting caught up with them. You'll also be able to observe whatever you're thinking about. This will give you the ability to question your assumptions to see if they're true or not. At that point, you now have the option to tell yourself a different story that can make you feel better. This will greatly help you out the next time you're in a social situation. For example, let's say you're at a party and there's someone there that you wanted to meet. Instead of automatically thinking that they're not going to be interested, why not assume that they're going to like you? What if you end up having a great conversation with them and become good friends? That could happen too, you know? Keep in mind that your brain can only contain one thought at any given moment. You can believe anything that you want. You might as well choose beliefs that empower you and support your goals. When you get in the habit of assuming people will like you, you'll act warmer towards them. This will help you come across as someone charismatic, which will help you connect with anybody much faster. Tip number 3 is to detach from any outcome. It's a little bit embarrassing to admit, but I'm actually a late bloomer. I didn't really have an active dating and social life until my 20s. Growing up, I was too focused on my academics. That's why I never really paid attention to my ability to interact with people. After I graduated from school, I ended up working as a structural designer for a prestigious engineering company. Even though I was successful professionally, I was failing miserably in my personal life. At that point, I noticed that the people around me had lots of friends and were already in long-term relationships. And because of that, I felt like I was falling behind and that I needed to catch up. That's why I was always so tense whenever I attended any event or gathering. I was such in a rush to connect with people. That's why I came across desperate whenever I talked to someone. I was especially even more nervous when I'm chatting with someone who's attractive or popular. If that sounds like you and you want more people to like you, you have to stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Accept where you're at and only focus on things that you can do something about. Interacting with people becomes so much easier when you stop forcing yourself to make anything happen. The truth is, building a quality social circle is always going to be a numbers game. That's why you have to keep putting yourself out there. The more you go out and the more risk you're willing to take, the faster you'll meet like-minded people. To help you out, I made a free cheat sheet that will show you how to approach and talk to anybody. You can download a free copy by going to socialconfidencemastery.com. That link is also available in the description below. Tip number 4 is to take responsibility for yourself. Remember, you're supposed to be bad at things that you don't have a lot of knowledge and experience in. You're going to struggle initially and make a lot of mistakes. Not only is that normal, but it's totally expected. That being said, if you want to succeed socially, you have to be able to persevere during tough moments. You just have to keep at it until things finally click for you. This actually reminds me of a client that I worked with recently. He's in his mid-30s, has an introvert personality, and works as a software engineer. Time and time again, he's been told by lots of people that he comes across too strong. That's why he keeps getting turned down whenever he tries to interact with someone. His vibe is just too intense, and he comes across as someone very needy. He's frustrated because he literally has 0 friends and has never had a girlfriend. As a result, he spends too much time by himself, and he often feels lonely. When he joined our social skills coaching program, I immediately identified what the issue was. He just had a terrible attitude. Instead of taking responsibility for himself, he often blames others for his lack of results. He'll complain that the city that he lives in has a lot of flaky people and that they're all superficial. If you can relate to that, I want to remind you that you get exactly what you think about the most. That's why you have to be mindful of what you're focusing on. That being said, if you want to have an attractive personality, you need to shift your perspective. You have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get the results that you want. Remember, the meaning of the communication is the response that it gets. Whenever you get rejected, that's a sign that you need to change something about the way you're expressing yourself. View it as an opportunity for growth. By doing so, you'll be a lot more willing to make the necessary changes to help you build rapport with others. Keep in mind that small actions taken repeatedly add up to something big eventually. When you stop blaming others and only focus on things that you can't control, it's inevitable that you'll reach your social goals. By the way, if you're tired of struggling socially and you want to learn more about our social skills coaching program, I'd love to connect with you. Book your free consultation today by going to socialconfidencemastery.com. That link is also available in the description below. Tip number 5 is to keep your promises. Personally, I don't like cutting out people in my life. But when a relationship is no longer mutually beneficial, then I have to make that tough decision. In fact, this reminds me of a friend that I used to have. He's actually one of the funniest people that I know, and I really enjoyed his company. Whenever we hung out, it's always a blast, and I always have a good time. The only problem was, he was so unreliable. He would often make promises and then break them. Even though I'd get upset, I would do my best to understand him because I thought he would change. It's when he started dropping the ball on bigger and bigger stuff that made me rethink our relationship. That's when I drew the line and said enough was enough. I honestly felt like I gave things a fair shot, so after years of trying, I stopped reaching out to him. That being said, if you want to have a more attractive personality, you have to be consistent. Don't say one thing and do something else. At the end of the day, you'll have a hard time building rapport with others if they don't know what to expect from you. If you're anything like me, I hate wasting my time. I'm a busy guy, and I always have lots of things to do. That's why I get really pissed when someone's late. And if someone bails on me or cancels on me last minute, I will definitely hesitate to hang out with that person again. That's why you have to become more organized. Admittedly, I don't have the best memory ever. I always have lots of ideas in my mind and tend to forget things by accident. If you can relate to that, I highly recommend you schedule important commitments in advance. Another thing that I like to do is to review my calendar regularly. I also like to set reminders on my phone. That way, I'm always aware of whatever's coming up. When you become someone who's reliable, you'll develop a good reputation among your peers. People will trust you more, which will help you create a deeper connection with them. If you would like to learn how to become more likable, then make sure you watch this next video. That's where I give you more actionable tips to have an attractive personality. By the end of it, you'll learn how to connect with others very quickly, so make sure you check it out.